Phones were boring in 2020, weren't they? I mean, there were a lot of launches, but they were all the same 64 megapixel cameras, triple cameras, Snapdragon 765G or 865, and the same big screens. I mean, it kind of felt like companies were just running permutations and combinations on hardware to come out with new phones. But then this thing came out and, well, this changes things. Hey guys, I'm Akshay from Beebom.com and this is the LG Wing. A phone that actually offers something different, something fresh, and that's why I found it more interesting than any other phone this year. So what's special here? Well, this. Yeah, this screen swivels out and you get the secondary screen just below. Believe me when I tell you, you do this in public and it sure turns eyes. Anyway, this is a pretty big phone as you can see, and that's a giant 6.8-inch POLED panel up top. But still, opening this screen is easy with just one hand, and it's very satisfying. I mean, it opens with this swoosh sound and makes a satisfying tactile click when you close it. Check it out. Closing it with one hand is not impossible as you can see, but LG obviously wants us to use both hands to close the screen here. That's fine to be honest, but I mean, come on LG, you went this far, maybe just add some easier way to close the screen as well. Just a suggestion. Anyway, let's try to use both these screens with the apps I use most often and see what we can do. I've tried a couple of things on this phone already and some I'll be testing right now, but I do have some tips for you guys that I will be sharing later on in this video. So I use Netflix a lot and I'm sure you guys do too, so let's just open this up here. Now I usually find myself texting my friends quite a bit, so let's open up a chat window here and well, this looks fine, doesn't it? I mean, it's easy to text people while watching something at the same time. So yeah, I guess that's a nice use for these screens. One thing I noticed is that the weight distribution of this phone gets messed up when you swivel the screen. Look, this phone weighs 260 grams, which is heavy, but not as heavy as something like the Galaxy Z Fold 2, which is 280 grams. However, due to this weight distribution problem, my hands started hurting a little after 30 minutes or so of using it this way. Now, most of the time you probably don't chat for too long while you're watching something, so this should be fine. But yeah, if you're going to have a longer chat session, maybe find some place to rest your hands. Speaking of chatting, one really cool feature here is that you can open up a messaging app on this small 3.9-inch GOLED display and then just tap this button and get a full-size keyboard on the bottom screen. Unfortunately, this feature is only available with the built-in LG keyboard and not with third-party keyboards, but it's still a pretty nice feature to have, and I hope Gboard and SwiftKey also bring support for this feature. Moving on, last night I was playing a couple of games on this phone as well. Now I'm still missing PUBG, but Call of Duty is something I play a lot these days, and in that game this second screen shows some LG game tools, but that's about it. Nothing really special. In Asphalt 9 however, you get this cool map on the secondary screen while you race on the main display. That's quite cool, and I wish Call of Duty also brings something like this. That would be really cool. But before we move on, let me tell you about those tips. So most of you guys must be having online classes these days on Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom, right? Well, if you're in a boring meeting, you can use the second screen to chat with your friends at the same time. Or you can be a good student and actually use the second screen to take notes along with your class. It's your call. Another thing I used this phone for a lot yesterday was handling Reddit and keeping up with things going on in our Quip documents. Normally I have to keep switching between these apps on my iPhone, but here I can just open them both on separate screens and keep a track of what's going on. Plus, if I find something interesting, I can quickly share it with my colleagues as well. Look, I didn't really come here planning to talk about anything other than these screens, but LG has a pretty cool camera feature here as well. So on the rear of this phone, you get a triple camera setup with the 64 megapixel primary, a 12 megapixel ultra wide lens and a 13 megapixel ultra wide lens. Yeah, there are two ultra wide lenses here, and here's why. When you swivel the screen out, the phone uses the ultra wide lens as a gimbal camera. You get all these controls here and a bunch of modes, plus this lock button that keeps the frame locked even if you move around a bit. So yeah, it's pretty damn cool. So as you can see here, I'm taking this shot by just panning the phone around myself. Now the LG Wing has pretty solid stabilization itself, so this video is quite smooth even when I'm turning physically and recording the pan. But now here I'm using the gimbal camera feature of the phone to pan the shot without moving physically. This way you can get slightly better stability as you can see here. However, you are limited by the field of view of the ultra wide lens here, so the pan isn't as wide as it can be if you physically turn and record the video. So yeah, there's that, but this is still a pretty cool feature to have. I'm sure you're wondering why I'm going on and on about this phone, right? See, 2020 was a pretty weird year and not a lot of good things have happened. Even the phones launched this year have mostly been boring, but this is a phone that's actually something different and interesting, and well, I like it. So yeah, kudos to LG for making this phone, and yeah, I can't wait to see what else LG comes out with under its Explorer project, because this is cool. But what are your thoughts on this phone? And do you have any other use cases in mind? Let us know in the comments. Also give this video a like and share it with your friends. Lastly, subscribe to our channel for more amazing tech videos. That's me signing off. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.